Welcome to the freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh, hey folks, dude here, coming out again to the edition of Dude After Dark. This one, of course, being kind of a strange occasion because I'm actually working off of the Facebook Messenger app. So instead of actually being able to post stuff up, because I had a 7-day off, because I used the phrase to describe a woman who was just a raging pain in the butt, and also known as the puppy mother. You know, the itch. So I used the B word, and Facebook being Facebook is like, this has been seen to be blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Do you wish to delete it or ignore? And I was like, ignore. And then they're like, well, you know, you're basically are now being pejorative and obnoxious. And it's like, okay, she was being a bitch. Tough. Deal with it. So she was being a bitch. That might actually be a soundbite. I have to work on that one. Sound guy, you might actually have to, like, you know, pull files and no. You're gonna have to pull files and make it so that, you know, we have a B itch.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Okay, that sounds on the opposite side of the coin. It sounds like she may have been having a little bit of a good time, and that was not exactly describing somebody as the euphemism which I was trying to state. Would you stop with the sound, guys? Stop. Just stop. Okay? Stop. So anyway, like I said, I'm gonna be working off of the Messenger app that I've been, like, you know, basically logging in links and what have you. So it might be a little bit of a lapse as I'm trying to upload the actual link address and get it to actually then, you know, render correctly. So looking at things as it is, right off the bat, going into the Christmas season, we have another episode of somebody going full DEI, just left-hearted, bad, horrible execution. Google is now gotten themselves a very effeminate, cross-dressing man, stating, you know, this is going to be so wonderful because we're now showing this person, yet again, another woke enterprise of bad execution. Zach, appreciate you coming by, man. Appreciate you checking out tonight. Anyway, I do not wish to play this video, but yeah, it's really, really bad. So Google basically has done their own version of Bud Light. Really, like, picking up the worst kind of, obviously it's a dude dressed like a chick trying to act like a chick who's not a chick but a dude, and going on and on about, like, you know, I need to look on Google for, you know, oh geez. So supposedly the person is Cyrus Vaezi, a non-binary identifying TikTok star, according to the New York Post, for a Christmas campaign advertising their Google shopping service. So in the ad, Vaezi, and I'm not going to play it, dressed in women's clothing and in full makeup, complains about how the weather this time of year just doesn't agree with his complexion. I like how the fact they use his and not, you know, they or them or, you know, her. Quote, this winter dryness is not it, especially when I have so many holiday looks to pull off. Thankfully, I know just the thing, Google Shopping, which has all manner of hydrating products. Hydrating skin is a gift to everyone. No wrapping needed. Happy holidays to me. I gotta tell you, dude doing this thing and trying to look like a chick, does not look like a chick, okay? It looks like a scrawny guy dressed up like a girl going on and on about moisturizer, and it's like, uh, dude, no, it just does not play well. It sounds like monkey feces. Well, I don't know if it sounds like monkey feces, but it definitely sounds really completely just yeah, it's just not good, okay? Just very um
The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature.
viewer dies. Viewer dies. All right. Anyway, so they got this thing going on, and immediately everybody was just like, "Oh hell no!" Uh, yeah. I love this one. It was somebody on Twitter. Google, what should we do for our Christmas ad? Normals. Maybe a family sharing gifts around a tree. Google, sorry, the best we can do is a dude prancing around in women's clothing. Oh, man. Yeah, and then, of course, cat turd being cat turd. I'm so sick of this woke cringe nonsense. I think Google right now might just have a little bit of an issue because people might just be going, you know what? There's other search engines. I'm just going to use those and find myself an alternative. Classically, there's obviously other stuff you could be utilizing. Personally, I tend to utilize DuckDuckGo. And obviously, there's some stuff DuckDuckGo just doesn't do. So in those instances, I'll use DuckDuckGo to then log into Google, then use Google for the search, and then go back to DuckDuckGo once I found my, search parameters fulfilled. Excuse me 1 second here. I got Java. Fresh Tiggy juice. Anyway, so going into the next news story, everybody's been kirking out going, what's the deal with these drones flying around, offshore of New Jersey and flying around other areas? And everybody's kind of weirding out about it. And there's been no answers from the federal government about what the hell is going on. Nobody supplied any kind of information. And it's now come out to be that maybe there's been some truth thrown to the news story about where these drones are coming from, what they're actually doing. And the news story that I have that I could apply to this one is thusly from Truth Press. So the title, of course, is then going to be Mystery as a radioactive shipment goes missing in New Jersey amid the drone invasion. Posted up 1 day ago. A radioactive material missing in New Jersey earlier this month, fueling conspiracy theories that could be linked to the mysterious drone sightings. A piece of medical equipment used for cancer scans was shipped from the Nazha Cancer Center in Newfield on December 2 for disposal, but the shipping container arrived at the destination damaged and empty. So the device, known as a quote-unquote pin source, and contained a small amount of germanium-68 or G-68. That is used to calibrate a medical scanner's accuracy. However, if handled without proper gear, it can cause radiation poisoning. So this is what's referred to in the business as something hot. And they mean like, you basically have like your classic thing where distance squared halves the strength, distance squares have the strength, and of course shielding materials. Now, there's some stuff out there, you literally could shield it with a polyethylene bottle. There's other stuff out there that literally you need like a block of lead. And there's other stuff out there that really it needs to be underwater and you don't want to be anywhere near it because it's cooking off so much radioactive energy that the particles will just cut you to ribbons. So what's going on with this stuff is they say that the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, or the NRC, issued an alert for the missing in shipment deemed less than Category 3, meaning it could cause permanent injury if mishandled. Well, a radioactive device, if you're messing with it, in any strength can cause injury or other mayhem. Now, the danger of losing track of radioactive material is it can be used to build bombs. You cannot use germanium-68 to build a bomb, okay? Let's just be completely specific here. That stuff is not for that. Hang on one second here, and I will keep myself and uh, just about as honest as I could be here. So, germanium 68, used in a range of diagnostic applications, including the production of germanium 68, gallium 68 generated to attract the isotope G68. So what's it used for? Has a half-life of 271 days. So in other words, after 271 days, it has the field strength half of its previous level. So it went from 100% to 50%, quite literally. So it's basically used as reference source of calibration, normalization of 2 and 3D positron emission tomography, PET imaging systems. Okay, so PET scans is what they normally apply to people who are cancer patients. So what happens is the PET scanner basically emits this beam and it strikes normal tissue in a certain way, cancerous tissue in another way, thus giving a scan and an ability to say, okay, there's still cancer present here, or there's no more cancer. You're now clean and clear. That's literally what it's used for. Is it's used to calibrate these devices so they have the correct amount of sensitivity. Excuse me a second here. So basically using it, they're going to use it to make bombs. They're not going to use this stuff to make a dirty bomb. It's not that big a source of this. So the experts have suggested the malicious actors likely use more potent materials than what was lost in New Jersey. No kidding. So the missing medical equipment has led many of its social media to speculate the drones flying over New Jersey may be using the government to sniff out the radiological stuff. John Ferguson, the CEO of Saxon Aerospace, a drone manufacturer in Kansas, said the only reason drones are flown at night is because they quote unquote are looking for something. My only guess is that the drones are not nefarious intent. If they were, they are, but I doubt it, Ferguson said in a TikTok video. But if they are drones, the only reason they can be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. Instances of missing radioactive material in the U.S. are rare and typically involve small quantities used in industrial or medical applications. Okay, most people really are running around with radioactive stuff. That seems to be what's going on with that one. And so that might be why we had the sniffing around in New Jersey that everybody's just going, oh my, these things are so scary. There's lights in the sky. Like they don't see lights in the sky every flipping day of the week when planes are flying around, helicopters are flying around. There's lights in the book. It's not like all of a sudden, you have all kinds of nefarious stuff going on. It's not like basically you look up in the sky and then of course you have, the dreaded, alien incursion, stupid stuff, and just no sound guy. No, it's not like
that's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
No zone.
I am not in the no-no zone, okay? I can talk about this stuff. I'm not in the no-no zone. All right? I'm not.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
No zone.
I'm not in the no-no zone.
No zone.
Okay, it's not like that at all.
Fatality.
Stop, okay? No, guys, stop that, okay? It's not like that at all. Now, there is actually another news story that's come out that's been very, very interesting. And, okay, if there's anybody that really, truly is kind of now really showing their age, yes, it's Nancy Pelosi. Obviously, she's left her creme de la creme position in the Congress, and probably other things are starting to have happen because, well, she's flipping old, all right? I'm not going to be charitable about this one, but let's just be really, really truthful here, okay? She went to Europe. She was commemorating the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge during World War II. So the 80th anniversary, okay? Nancy Pelosi is 84. She's saying, I'm going to run again. I'm absolutely going to run for another term. And then she proceeded to slip and, crash and burn down the stairs and just Okay, she fell. All right, she fell. And it's not that bad, and it's really kind of kind of a classic thing. The old guy falls, breaks a hip. They do a hip replacement. So it could be said that she'll be bouncing back and doing her usual stuff, but she's kind of just
I say we take off and nuke the entire bitch from orbit.
okay. She's not in the no zone.
No, 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 no. Hell no, no, no. I refuse. No.
Okay, she's not in the no zone. All right, stop that. She's not. She's not in the no zone. She's not in the no zone. She's gonna get the hip fixed. She'll be backing around and doing stuff. Whatever. Oh jeez, Patriot Fever. Oh man, which is more humorous, Nancy with a broken hip or Mitch McConnell the turtle being wheelchaired out of Senate? Wow. I gotta say though, I think the problem is that there was a standard set by Strom Thurmond, and dude was like basically pretty much non-functional by the time that he pretty much, I think he died in office. But it was to the point when the staff would come up to him and they're like, "Hey, this is a really good bill. You should say yes for it." And he's like, "Okay, I'll say yes." And literally, that's what it was, because he degraded to the point where literally the staff was doing the job. Well, you probably should vote for this one. Okay, I'll vote for this one. No, this one's bad. It goes against blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, I'll vote against that one. When you get to that age level where your health is declining, you're not all there, dude, it is time for you to pack it in, go home, enjoy your family and retirement and all the rest of that stuff. You're not proving anything by staying in office and doing a sucky job. Patriot Fever. Leave it to Nancy Pelosi to break her hip in a country with socialized medicine. Well, actually, no. There is a asterisk on that one. Yes, she did do it over in I think it was Germany or something. Yes. So she actually had the surgery performed at a U.S. military hospital in Germany. Yes. So anyway, she was getting it done at Landstuhl. So LANDSTUHL Army Base and medical staff at Hospital Kirchberg in Luxembourg for their excellent care and kindness. The Landstuhl base is located in Western Germany, about 120 kilometers east of Luxembourg. Or what's that? Like 80 or 90 miles, east of Luxembourg. Pelosi, a Democrat who still represents San Francisco in Congress, though she stepped down from her senior leadership position in 2023, remains one of the most influential figures within her party, but her party's now, yeah, whatever. It's not clear when she'll be cleared to return to the U.S. following her surgery. I hope they're feeding her Jell-O. Like nothing but piles of Jell-O. Here you go, Nancy. Here's some Jell-O. There wouldn't happen to be any vodka in that, would there? No, sorry, ma'am. You're on medicine. We can't give you that. Yeah. But Europe has better healthcare. Well, it's a military, it was a military facility. So, they're going to basically do it, as well as they can, I guess. Thing is, though, I don't know how many, medical doctors and the army persuasion are doing hip transplants. I tend to think those guys are like, referring their services upon guys who are coming back from battle areas. So I don't think there's many 84-year-old combatants going in there going, I just tripped over something and broke my hip. I don't think that's happening much, but anything's possible. Anything is possible. This one I find to be absolutely hilarious. Now, the news story is there was a chick, and her name is Susanna Van Roy, and I mean Rooy. Susanna Van Roy. And the name is spelled Suzannah. Susanna. As flourished as it could possibly be. Well, anyway, she worked formerly at a place called Beauchert's, Beucherts Saloon on the Capitol Hill area. I think it was like 300 or 600 East Pennsylvania. So right by the White House. The White House is 1600 Pennsylvania. So it's right by it. Well, anyway, she formerly worked there. Now, from her LinkedIn, it gets very, very interesting, folks. And I mean very, very interesting. So 2022, she is now the digital media manager and assistant general manager at Beauchert's Saloon. Remember, she was just hit canned. Previously to that, she was 2015 to 2017 digital and social media manager at Localize. So local, like the word local, so it's local IIZ, or it might be it's two I's. So Localize. So they're trying to say that you're doing stuff there. So she was there for 2 years. Now, where did she actually go to school? This gets interesting, folks. 2008 to 2008, international studies abroad. Oh, actually, no. It goes previous to that. 2007, 2005, 2000. Okay, 2005, 2009, Bachelor of Arts, International Commerce, Texas A&M University, and it goes from there. Then she was a digital manager. This and the other thing, bro. It's really written weird how they did it on LinkedIn. But 2007 basically just shows blanks. 2008 to 2008, International Studies Abroad, L'Institut Catholique de Paris, Bachelor of Arts degree. 2005, 2009, Memorial Student Center, LT Jordan Institute intern. I don't know what that means. Then after that, she went to Texas A&M, blah, 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 Bachelor of Arts, International Commerce. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So, she worked for Localize, Sparrow Digital, and Beto, like Beto O'Rourke. Yes, that Beto. Beto O'Rourke. So, Beto for Texas. Worked on his campaign. Now, here's where it gets really, really, really interesting. In Beauchert's, where she got fired, is because she said, I refuse to serve Trump, any officials in the Republican Party, or any Republicans. Exactly. And then she got really snarky about why she disliked Republicans. So, what did she do? Well, she was fired after making controversial remarks about refusing service to Trump administration officials. Van Roy stated in a Washingtonian interview, Washingtonian's a magazine, she would not serve any government official she thought was engaged in immoral actions like sex trafficking and deportation attempts. Actually, no, if you want to really get hardcore, it's the bad guys doing the sex trafficking. Deportation has not been the slightest bit done by Donald Trump in this administration as of yet because he's not been sworn in. You're kind of jumping ahead of the game just a touch. Just give me 1 second here. So, jumping back into the article, and I think I got this off of MSN, quote, I personally would refuse to serve any person in office who I know of as being a sex trafficker or trying to deport millions of people. It's not, we hate Republicans. It's just this person has moral convictions that are strongly opposed to mine, and I don't feel comfortable serving them. Well, she said these things, and Beauchert's guys, read like the guy who owns the place, the other managers, whatever, promptly said, you know what? No, and more no. So Van Roy's remarks specifically mentioned the public outcry Trump officials encountered, such as former press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was asked to leave a restaurant in Virginia, and former Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, who was harassed by demonstrators at a Mexican restaurant in Washington, D.C. I would not eat at any restaurant that has anybody on staff pulling this crap simply because you're not being nonpartisan. You are being very, very partisan. So she's basically worked on political campaigns, including organizing Beto O'Rourke's 2022 gubernatorial campaign in Texas, according to her since-deleted LinkedIn page. She's also been tasked with overseeing day-to-day operations, developing communications plans, planning events for VIPs and political leaders at Beauchard's Saloon, a Capitol Hill eatery that frequently hosts high-profile visitors. Well, her remarks were promptly addressed by Beauchard's Saloon, which described them as quote-unquote reprehensible and against the establishment's zero tolerance policy on discrimination. So that broadsword cuts both ways, doesn't it now? Yes, it does. So a representative for the restaurant denounced her behavior and made it clear that her opinions did not represent the company's. Quote, recent comments made by a member of the staff who had no authority to speak on behalf of our entire restaurant has been quite rightly flagged as inappropriate, hostile, intolerant, and unacceptable, the restaurant stated. The saloon further qualified that Van Roy had been a part-time server with no managerial authority. Why was she saying, I'm an assistant manager then? I think she actually was, but I think the manager who basically was the one that was making this statement was like, fix this, fix it. Yeah, say she was not a manager because she wasn't all that. I tend to see her as an also-ran looking for any kind of a gig, and this is the job that hired her, and she pumped up her accreditations to make herself look like way more than she ever was, and she was not. So calling her actions up for, okay. Okay. Restaurants also issued a public apology, distancing itself from her remarks. Quote, the staff member does not speak for us as a restaurant. The statement continues assuring customers that Beauchard's will remain a safe space for all patrons, regardless of political beliefs. Well, how magnanimous is that? By Friday, the restaurant announced that Van Roy's dismissal, calling her actions unforgivable. Translation, she got foot in ass. Beauchard's condemned her unauthorized use of the restaurant's social media accounts to post her views, calling it a breach of protocol and conduct. So basically, she was talking out her ass and using these guys as the messaging board, and they were like, "Oh hell no!" Or she was given those abilities and she made them look bad, and they're like, "Oh hell no!" and they gave her elbow. Let's see. Scrolly. Calling it a breach of protocol and conduct. The restaurant also expressed the personal offense felt by some staff members who were hurt by Van Roy's comments. Quote, our staff and families are still reeling for what Miss Van Roy said and did. The statement read, quote, we simply are horrified to be associated with base prejudice. Okay, this sounds to me like pretty much a restaurant that's like, you know what? I don't care who it is at this time. These are the guys in charge in DC, and everybody's money is green. Sounds like the kind of place you probably should frequent, you know? The restaurant urged the public not to blame the entire staff for Van Roy's actions, emphasizing that Beauchard's had remained committed to providing friendly service to all customers, regardless of their political or personal beliefs. Isn't that just interesting? Let's go 1 second. Felt that one coming. So basically, I think what it is if she was given an inch, she took a mile. Sounds like your standard basic Democrat, kind of like Beto. Oh, yeah, I'm going to take your AK-47s. I'm going to take your AR-15s. Jackhole, you're not even in charge of anything yet. But yet he's still talking out his ass. Oh, I'm going to commit major gun control on everybody. Yeah, that's what lost you your potential position, you pissant, puckered little... I really want to go on, but puckered pink hole. That's about as good as I'm going to get. You puckered little pink hole. Oh, Patriot Fever. I'm not taking that one out of the room. Do I fix this or do I fix the guy with the crud? I think I'd fix the guy with the crud and tell Nan she could wait for a little while. Oh, man. Coming in from Breitbart. This one is very, very interesting. So the House GOP demands an FBI investigation upon Liz Cheney for alleged witness tampering. Very, very interesting. So House Republicans are demanding the FBI investigate Liz Cheney for allegedly tampering with at least one witness of the partisan January 6th committee. So Cheney, a former member of the panel, said last week she would not go to jail for alleged wrongdoing during her tenure in the committee. President-elect Donald Trump accused members of the panel, the partisan panel, of destroying committee evidence that he said exonerated him from allegations of wrongdoing. Sounds basically like the way Democrats work. They charge you with something, they have no reason to find you guilty of it, and they completely freak out and go bonkers about these things, going, you see, it's the seriousness of the charge, even though they got nothing really to hold you up with. And if every one of those people that's currently in jail is not completely pardoned and exonerated and recompensed for their time spent in jail for January 6th, where they were unjustly jailed, it's going to be a massive travesty of justice. I'll tell you one thing, though. This whole thing that, Biden's been going on with, like, the unbelievable amount of pardons that he's issued, all you got to remember this, folks, and this is the very, very simple, easy way to figure it out. You never have to pardon somebody who isn't guilty of something. Remember that. Non-guilty people don't need pardons. Now, all these people that got screwed over in January 6th, I tend to think that their charges were completely inflated, and a lot of these guys were completely screwed over. And it's been stories now poked around that the FBI did have assets on the ground stirring it up on January 6th. In excess of 20 FBI agents were seen around the Capitol on January 6th going, no, let's just all go in. Ginning everybody up, making whatever happened go worse. Those guys were guilty of those things. Obviously, those news stories, you guys can look around for that one. But FBI assets were stirring the pot on January 6th. Most definitely. So she basically, says, I'm not guilty of this. You're not going to put me in jail. This, that, and the other thing. Yeah, but you know what? Your entire reputation is now hosed, and people see you as a complete and total dirtbag. Just give me 1 second here. Patriot Fever. Pete Butt does a guy. I call him Pete Butt do a guy. Yeah, Pete Butt do a guy. Yeah, FBI, Trump, government, whatever. Yeah. This has been. If anybody truly thinks that the FBI is above board, they're living in a fantasy world, because you have those guys that keep their mouths shut, their heads down, and they're like, man, this sucks. This is too political right now. We are supposed to be law enforcement. We are not supposed to be an arm of the government to sick upon your enemies. Those guys are kind of just, hunkering down, waiting for things to get better. It's the political hacks that are doing these things. Every single one of these guys should be booted. They should lose their retirement, and they should be told in no uncertain terms, playing these kind of games and screwing over American public members, not cool. Not cool in the slightest. Have you guys heard about this one or not? But this one is kind of blanking crazy. This is absolutely nuts. Have you guys seen this one or not? But supposedly, coming in from Breitbart yet again, a top Russian general in charge of the nuclear troops has been killed in Moscow with a bomb attack. Sound guy. Dude, that's some serious hang time. I'll give him that. Anyway, coming in from Breitbart, the head of Russia's nuclear and chemical forces was killed by a bomb blast in Moscow early Tuesday. I find this very interesting. They're still pissing and carrying on with Ukraine, and Ukraine is going, you know what, we're just going to make the fight a little personal. I think they snuck into Russia and stuck dude up. So Russia's investigative committee said that an explosive device, which was remotely triggered while hidden inside a parked scooter, killed Lieutenant General Igor Krylyov, AP reports. His assistant also died in the explosion. The bomb had power equivalent to roughly 300 grams of TNT. Well, if you know what a pound is 454 grams. So it was a third of a kilogram of TNT. Russian state news agency TASS reported, citing unnamed sources in the emergency services. State television footage from the scene showed shattered windows and scorched and blackened brick. Dude, there's like a hole in the building where that overpressure just went. So investigators, forensic experts, and operational services are working the scene. The committee's spokesmember Svetlana Petrenko said in a statement seen by AP. Investigative and search activity has been carried out to establish all circumstances around the crime. She also said that Moscow is treating the bombing as a terrorist attack. Okay, Russia doesn't have terrorist attacks. They just don't, okay? If you want to call it a terrorist attack, that's fine. I'm willing to state most clearly that probably it was a hit, okay? It was just a hit. Wrong hit. Wrong kind of hit, sound guy. Wrong. Just wrong. Yeah, you really, no, that was not it. So anyway, they tend to think that basically it was Ukraine, according to Reuters, citing a Ukrainian security source, Kyiv security service killed the Russian general. Kind of like what I just said at the start of this. Hello? Russia's radioactive, chemical, and biological defense soldiers, known as the this is massive. So the capital letters RK, small letter H, capital letters BZ, are the special forces who operate when there's a threat from radioactive, chemical, and biological contamination. Yeah, he did a real hell of a good time in Chernobyl. This is not the first time a Russian military figure has been killed in central Moscow by hostile forces. No, I don't think so. As Breitbart News reported, Ukraine claimed the assassination by shooting the Russian missile scientist in Moscow suburbs park earlier this month, just days after a car bombing killed a pro-Russian Ukrainian public official in occupied Donetsk. Or Donetsk, or whatever. I think it's Donetsk. So basically, they're now going and making it personal. That's very, very interesting. This is kind of not good, folks. James O'Keefe, the guy that basically sneaks in the videos and gets the FOIA stuff and does all those kind of interesting things. Well, he's got a video. Let's see if I can't make this one work here. Truthpress.com. James O'Keefe. So he is infamous on this one. So he's now released a video from an NSC advisor admitting that Biden is far worse off than we know. And I can get into it more than a little bit here. Joe Biden is like dead. This is what the guy's saying. He can't say a sentence. Well, dude, you can't say a sentence anyway. He's really progressed in his old age. Everyone recognizes it. I can't believe it wasn't a bigger scandal earlier. He'll be dead in a year, he predicted. So the guy saying this is somebody by the name of Henry Appel. So Appel, giving more inside information about Biden's cognitive decline and revealing worries among the White House and national security officials. They will face investigations from the incoming Trump administration or Congress. Well, you should. You're giving somebody aid and comfort that should be getting the what's that one? The 24th Amendment, where they basically say, dude, is not up. Yeah. So Apple described his job stating, quote, "We give all the senior policy members all of the secrets. It's like diplomacy and international relations, like war." Noting that his office is quote unquote super involved with the war in Ukraine, which he said is going quote unquote terribly. He said he used to think he'd be a spy, and he would, he did that for a little while. Well, dude, if you can't make a sentence with talking without saying super, you speak like a teenager. Let's see. During the date, which the undercover journalist, Apple spilled the quote-unquote tea on Biden. Apple told a story about how Biden once called his office looking for National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who was not in the office. Biden hung up the phone after saying he would try another line, but like 10 seconds later, the same phone rang. It was Biden asking for Jake Sullivan again. In another instance, Biden called the NSC looking for Sullivan while on a trip aboard. This time, Sullivan wasn't in the office because he was on the trip with Biden. He's like, no, he's traveling with you. He's on the same trip you are, said Apple. That was like a year ago. He said before predicting that Biden would survive more than one more year. Apple further described the basic English was lost with Biden during official meetings. He once described the new development as novel, and Joe Biden, according to Apple, he said was like novel? You mean like a book? Ugh. Can be recalled that O'Keefe released similar expose earlier this year in January, where another White House official corroborated the claims made by Apple. Charlie Krager, a cybersecurity policy analyst and foreign affairs desk officer in the executive office of the White House, told O'Keefe through Biden wasn't clearly diagnosed yet. His cognitive decline was clear. The White House insiders were, quote, really concerned about it leading up to the election. Apple said he and his colleagues are worried they may be criminally liable, investigated for something. Quote, we're kind of concerned about them coming after us, like with Congress. I've got to find a new job. I don't know what the F chuck I'm going to do, Apple said, noting that they're quote unquote trauma bonded after crying together over Trump's victory. Apple also slammed Kamala Harris for running a terrible campaign, stating she doesn't believe in anything and that Harris's campaign pushed aside Biden and his team after executing a coup on the Democrat nominee. No, it was a little bit more than that. That was more like Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, a bunch of those insider bigwigs was the one that basically pushed Biden aside. Wow. So the video is actually up, and man, I got to tell you what, if that's the way things are working in the White House right now, it is really, really not good. Scrolly, get on to the next thing here. This truly makes me kind of chuckle a little bit here. This amuses me, okay?
And now, a few moments of brilliance by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I just had another amazing idea. So, like, maybe we can study the effects of global warming from the main source of all the heat in our solar system, the sun. Maybe I can convince Elon Musk, who is absolutely obsessed with me, by the way, to do something good with SpaceX and figure out a mission to the sun in order to get samples. I suggest we go at night because it would probably be too hot during the day, but we'll leave all that up to the scientists.
That she honestly said that, folks. She actually honestly said that. So anyway, now it's coming in from Truth Press that AOC suffered a major setback in a bid to become the top Democrat on a key committee. So she came up well short in a bid to become a ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, an influential position that would give her an elevated platform. So the private vote among the House Democrats Steering and Policy Committee on Monday, House Democrats voted to nominate longtime U.S. Representative Gary. It was like that G thing. So I guess it would be Jerry Connolly, the Democrat from Virginia for the position, according to a report from Axios. The move represents a significant setback for AOC through the full Democratic Party. Caucus will still need to vote on whether to approve the committee's nomination. It is rare for a full caucus to rebuke a steering committee's nomination, which is closely aligned to party leadership, although such a move is not without precedent. The final vote is not particularly close, with Connolly defeating Ocasio-Cortez with a final tally of 34-27, according to multiple lawmakers who are present for the vote. Despite the significant setback, AOC has vowed to continue her pursuit of the key position. I don't see that happening, honey, so you might want to set that one off to the side. This one is absolutely something near and dear to my heart. Yes, indeedy. Let's give me 1 second here. Patriot Fever. Can somebody post a pet cat as primary opponent to Nancy Pelosi and AOC, please? You know, I think the cat actually might have something going on that maybe a yeah, the cat actually might do the job better. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Coming in from ammoland.com, a former police officer says there is no way to ban ghost guns now. Now, they're not ghost guns. They are actually federally mandated, legally applied under the amendments of this Constitution of these United States. You are allowed to home build firearms. Now, reckoning that power comes from the states to the federal and not to the federal to the states, your local state can hose you in home build firearms. Like my state's really kind of not good about it, but other states, they're like, if you want to build your own guns, have at it. And the thing about it is, with federal mandates, they go under taxation and interstate commerce. Now, if it's made in the state, it stays in the state, never leaves the state. There's absolutely no federal mandates that they can apply to you making your own firearms if you do not transfer them, sell them, or give them to somebody else. That is how that one works. So an article by WHYY.org, the National Public Radio Station quotes retired police officer Randy Sutton, says banning quote-unquote ghost guns will not stop people from getting them. The reportedly asked interesting commentary to the quotes by Sutton. Sutton added, because ghost guns are not regulated, making them go away outright is unrealistic. So Sutton words can be interpreted in such a manner. Seems clear Sutton meant the words would not, meant that the guns would not go away outright, whether they're banned or not, whether they're regulated or not. Here's a quote from Sutton in the article. Quote, there is not a chance in the world you're going to ban these weapons. It's impossible. You can make them illegal to possess, but the techno barn door has already been opened. Now, here's the other thing too, is it's now gotten to the point where you don't just print the polymer or, 3D printing and polymer and all the rest of that stuff, but there's now a silicone / rubber equivalent where you basically can print like, bumpers and seals and, buffers and all these things. You can simply do one run with the polymer, print the thing up, do another run, print up the little, buffer that's going to be, catching all the hard impacting parts. You then go to a different technology and you print the metal components, which are then sintered or welded together with a laser. So basically the frame, the barrel, the guts, the only thing you really have an issue with is the springs, but you can go to any hardware store and get springs. It's not hard to get springs. As a matter of fact, it's an unregulated item to buy springs off the internet. It's an unregulated item to buy bar stock that you then can turn into a barrel. It's not regulated for you to buy pretty much any kind of base metal object that you then can turn into a component of a firearm, okay? You read about, I think the guy's name was Lusby or something like that, or, that's not Lusby, Ludi or something like that. But the guy literally came up with a home-built machine gun, built the thing out of, hardware parts, and the Brits were losing their mind because, oh yeah, he then printed that book and it's on the internet right now where you can home build machine guns using his plans, using hardware applied technology to make the thing work. Was it a great application? No, but it's good enough. And it's like the classic thing. There is two pistols that they came up with back in World War II. One was called the Liberator. One was called the Deer pistol. The Liberator literally was basically sheet metal stuck together with just spot welds. And literally there was a comic book showing you how to use a thing. It was a single shot 45 ACP pistol. And it was built in such a way that you take this pistol, you use this pistol, and by using this pistol, you then, unalive, the opponent that's walking around with something better. You unalive him, take his stuff, and then utilize that to further your guerrilla warfare. Deer pistol in the same brain. This is basically more simplified construction where essentially it was like cast aluminum with a screw-in piece for the barrel. One was in 45 ACP, one was in 9mm. Obviously, you're functioning in Europe. 9mm is way more prevalent. So that stuff is out there. I think his name is Ludi or something like that. But it's basically, how to make a machine gun out of like hardware stuff. And they tried to screw this guy over. They basically bankrupted him. They put him through so much hell that his health went to snot, and he basically died. Eventually after serving like I think 1 or 2 prison terms. But they really were like, "You can't do this. You're basically sharing this information." They didn't really get him for making the gun so much as the fact that, hey, we really don't like the fact that you shared this information on how to make the gun. And he was like, you know what? I'm not going to take it away. I'm not going to, deny these people to have the right to defend themselves and embolden their ability to free themselves in bad times. So, scrolly. Yeah, it's, the genie's out of the bottle, man. You go online, you can find the plans for 3D printing pretty much anywhere if you do the stuff. Supposedly, Rachel Maddow is seeing her viewership crater after Trump's victory. Oh, that's just too funny. I mean, the thing about it is also you see these guys, they pump themselves up as, oh, yeah, we're the paragons of virtue. You have to respect us because we're the news media. Excuse me. Yeah, you might be the news media, but you're not the prevalent news media. The current prevalent news media right now is going to be probably podcasts. You have 2 guys just sitting around talking, minimal amount of production, and literally, you see what I got here. Literally, you could do the whole podcast thing with what I got. Basically, a microphone, a camera, a computer, internet access, done. As a matter of fact, you can even take it more low tech than that. You actually probably just simply do the thing over your phone. You have the phone set up in such a way, you're either using the good camera on the back or the selfie cam on the front, which is still okay enough, I guess, if you're just podcasting. I mean, most times people podcast, they want to have the nuances of somebody's facial, what they're intimating as they're speaking. That could be something that could be said. I mean, I've been watching and listening to a lot of Joe Rogan's podcast recently because, I do have Spotify. And the thing about it is even if you're not looking at the actual video component of the podcast taking place, it's just like, okay, let me show you this. Usually what it is he's showing a video. It's on, the frame and frame. He's showing it to the guest to say, hey, man, this is what I'm talking about. Check this stuff out. And then they're going back and forth with their interface going, oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're talking about now. Oh, jeez. Yeah, Patriot Fever going on. Paragons of Virtue. Tell that to Stephanopoulos and ABC right now. If you didn't hear that, what happened essentially was Stephanopoulos and ABC posited the notion that Trump had committed, a rape upon somebody, or they basically said that he was just a rapist or something along those lines. I think what the exact gist was, but the charge was actually lesser than a rape charge, and I don't even know why in the world he even agreed to be charged with that. I think what it was essentially is like they're like, well, we can't stick him with rape, let's stick him with this charge, and Trump basically fought it, and I don't even know what the actual judgment came out to be on it, but it's like one of these stupid things where, they're like, we're going to charge him, we're going to try to muddy him up as much as possible, dirty him, make him look bad, we're going to try to hose him as much as possible. So technically, ABC reported it as a rape when it was not a rape. I mean, it'd been like a sexual abuse charge or something like that. But, the truth about it is I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Trump actually did do a rape or a sexual abuse. It was simply a case of, some woman screaming and bemoaning the fact that, oh, I really hate him. He was really, really bad. Is that the other thing? On the full hate Trump bandwagon, she basically posited the notion that it was out there. He did that. He versus her. Her is going to be listened to. He gets hosed. And so in the case point and, everything they're in, they decided to stick him with it. And, it's like the classic line, you could prosecute and charge and find guilty a ham sandwich. So that's also what seems to be going on right now that I think is very, very interesting, is the fact that all these lawsuits and all these charges they've been putting on Trump pretty much have gone by the wayside, mostly because they're not good charges. They weren't good cases, and they never should have been brought up in the first place, except for the fact it was something politically minded to try to make him look bad. And it's like that whole Russian thing where you might not be guilty of it, but we're going to keep saying that you're such a bad person because you've been charged with this. It's the seriousness of the charge. It's not really whether you're guilty or not of it. It's the seriousness of the charge. And I can remember that being like the case for years and years and years and years. You listen to the leftist news media, and it was like, well, we don't care if he's guilty or not. They said that he did this, and I tend to believe them. Excuse me, do you remember like when you go to court and you're innocent until proven guilty? Well, I don't care. It's the seriousness of the charge. I tend to think that he's blah 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 blah, and he probably is. Okay, until he's charged and found guilty and sentenced for that crime, he ain't guilty of jack squat. Nice try. You could say, he's been guilty of mopery with intent to creep on a steamboat landing, to use the old G. Gordon Liddy thing. Until you actually are finding yourself charged with these things and you're actually guilty of these things, you're not been anything alongside with these things. Oh, jeez. Wow. Patriot Fever. I just want to see the dedication plaque at the Trump Library to ABC News. Thank you for the $15 million. Oh, man. And that's the other thing, too, is also these talking heads. They cannot help themselves. They parrot this crap that they know is not real. And what do? They just simply keep putting it out there, even though it's a lie. And even though that everybody knows, well, you probably should, have the real story before you actually stick somebody with it. Do they bother? No. They simply go, well, it sounds plausible. It's probably, yes, that's the case. He's guilty of it. We know for sure because we hate him so much. Charitably, we're just going to say, yeah, it's one of those things where we can say pretty much we're almost self-assured that maybe there's a good chance of it possibly could have sort of maybe, charitably is plausible. They don't want to be too certain about it, but they're still going to stand stridently behind it going, Thor's hammer. Yes, this is something we completely believe in. Yeah, well, guess what? It ain't going to work this time, buddy. So anyway, get back to the news story. So jumping over here, truthpress.com. MSNBC's Rachel Maddow sees viewership crater after Trump's victory. So MSNBC host Rachel Maddow has seen a significant drop in her viewership following President-elect Donald Trump's Election Day victory, according to recent data. Since Trump's landslide win over Vice President Kamala Harris, the Rachel Maddow Show has lost 43% of its audience in 2024, now averaging just 1.4 million viewers, One American News has reported. Analysts identified the decline by comparing the show's average viewership from January 1, 2024 through Election Day to its performance since November 6th. In 2022, Rachel Maddow reduced the Rachel Maddow Show to a once-in-a-week format to, quote, pursue other projects, end quote, despite her substantial salary. She recently signed a new contract to remain a prominent figure at MSNBC. Which cost them a lot of money. So the network's top stars experienced an even sharper decline among adults aged 25 to 54. Since the election, she's lost 56% of her audience in this key demographic group, now averaging just 103,000 viewers. 103,000. That's not much in a country with a population of 330 million. Oh, God. Patriot Fever. Trump should help Maddow's ratings by suing her and MSDNC. Oh, man. And now, of course, there's that running joke about, is Elon Musk going to buy MSNBC? Make it MXNBC. Wow. Because, it's been broken off by Comcast. Comcast is like, yeah, we don't want anything to do with you guys. Is it Comcast or maybe even the ABC? No, Comcast and NBC. Okay. So a critical blow given the importance of this age group to advertisers. Oh, ow. So the advertisers are now going, you're making us pay a lot of money for this advertising, and we're getting like almost nobody to watch our commercials. Bad news. I really don't watch commercials. Most of the time I just fast forward through them, or I simply just blank them out. I got all kinds of good, ad blockers on my computer for a reason. Why? Ads are just damn annoying. So at the height of popularity, it was the most popular, competed the most watched cable news program. However, for the last 2 years, she's only hosted the show on Monday nights, passing the 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time slot to Alex Wagner, whoever the hell that is, for the remainder of the week. Notably, Wagner has had her lowest rated week for just last week. So now focuses on covering MSNBC major events, such as election night, while dedicating her off time to hosting podcasts and working on various side projects. Translation, there ain't squat to do there. Under her previous contract, she reportedly earned $30 million annually. However, she's now got a 5-year deal worth only $25 million per year, although MSNBC insiders have disputed those figures. Fox News correspondent Joe Concha, who's long covered the media industry, remarked that he's unsurprised Maddow is losing viewers after the election results, given her strong support for Kamala. Quote, what is surprising, MSNBC still doled out $25 million to her work one night a week, and in return for her investment is that she finishes a distant second to Sean Hannity at 9 p.m. Is that money well spent? Rhetorical question. Yeah. So supposedly built a reputation on relentless criticism of Donald Trump, including promoting the once debunked theories, attempting to link him to Russia. Yeesh. So it thrived during the Less Than 10 focus on Trump, drawing an average of 2.5 million viewers in 2017, 2.9 million in 2018, 2.8 in 2019, and a peak of 3.2 in 2020. However, in 2021, she scaled back her workload following an extended hiatus. Before the 2024 election, she openly claimed that Trump, quote, would be a dictator, end quote, if re-elected. Folks. On that note, I think I'm about done with this stuff. Wow. He'll be a dictator. We saw that the first 4 years. Yikes. Talk about known quantity. Wow. All right, so you guys hung out with me on Tuesday. You get a gold star for attention. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. You got many other things to do, but you decided to hang out with me. I truly appreciate your kind attentions. I'm going to break up on this one. So eat good, keep tendering as always. You know what, you love it. I will see you all after Christmas. Why? Because the next show is going to be Christmas Eve. And I'm not going to take away from anything on anybody on that one. Enjoy your Christmas. Have a nice Christmas vacation. Probably see you before New Year's, I think. I think the next week wraps over. I'm going to have to look on that one. But anyway, catch you guys later. Have a good one. And I will see you guys later. Merry Christmas. If I don't see you, Happy New Year's, all the good stuff like that there. See you then. Catch you guys later. Okay. Well, see ya.